Hello there. It is good to be home. Hello there, Enchanted One. Welcome to Spirit Throw Me a Bone, your spiritual lifestyle channel. I'm Brenda Paradiso, and here on Spirit Throw Me a Bone, we cultivate our connection with the Enchanted Universe and coax Spirit to throw us a bone. And we do this in three ways. First, we create sacred space, and we signal our intention to accept gifts of enchantment from Spirit. Second, we flex our enchantment muscles and we consult the oracles of astrology and the tarot. And third, we welcome young self. And with a beginner's mind, we explore all manner of metaphysical and consciousness raising topics. So let's go ahead and get started by creating sacred space. So if you are not already all snuggled up next to your altar, then just create one right there on that table next to you. All you need is perhaps a candle and a sacred object or two. Or maybe all you need is just a deep breath. A deep breath to settle in, because this is your time. This is sacred time. So, welcome back. Let's create sacred space together. And we do this by imagining the creation of a sacred circle, an energetic container that embraces us all in sacred space. So imagine, if you will, a blue light. As I call the directions and the four elements, imagine the creation of a circle, a container with a blue light around the physical space that you occupy now, and also a larger circle embracing us all in virtual sacred space. So let's begin. By the air that is her breath, welcome East. By the fire of her bright spirit, welcome south. By the waters of her living womb, welcome west. And by the earth that is her body, welcome north. As above, so below, we are in sacred space. Hello there, Enchanted Ones. It is good to be home. It's been a while. You know, I've been in Colombia the last 2 Sundays. So I hope that you had an opportunity to catch those brief streams I did on Sunday nights the last 2 weeks. But I'm happy to be back in my home studio here. And I'd love for you to say hi in the comments. Yes, here we go. Let's see who's here tonight. Hi there, Erin. Hello, my dear. Good to see you. And there is Pastor Reverend Rob Banashek. Hello, my muse. How are you? Hi, Kathleen. Hope all is well with you. And our new friend Paula. And yes, I'm happy to be back. Happy to be back. So, what has the Enchanted Universe been serving up for all of you? When did we have the new moon come in? Was that like the 11th? I think it was a new moon in Leo, right? I tell you, the Enchanted Universe was speaking to me in Colombia in a big way, So, so Robin says hello. Hi, Robin and Teresa. I hope you're with us as well. Hello, Teresa. So, you guys ready to talk about astrology? Why don't we just jump right on into it? I'm watching my cat over there eat my church lady hat. Leo! Throw my book at him. Stop it. You know, my church lady hat that I wear in Karma and Cocktails? By the way, we have Karma and Cocktails next week. Don't forget. Reverend Rob Banashek will be our co-host. But we're going to talk about astrology right now. Let's go. Okay. I had to rescue the church lady hat. Okay, so what do we have? We have the enchantment of the Saturn square Uranus aspect. So let's talk about that for a minute. What do we know about Saturn? Anybody want to pop in the comments a keyword for Saturn? Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. I hope all is well with you. So, keyword for Saturn. Just give me one word, somebody. What the archetypal signification of Saturn? One word. What do you mean, Nugent? What does that mean? I can't even spell that, Rob. I don't know what Nugent means. I don't know what you're referring to when you say that. So some clarification, please, Reverend. Okay, guys, I know someone can give me a keyword for Saturn. Somebody can. Leo is up to no good tonight, guys. All right, class. So I'm going to bail you out here. Saturn, the lord of time, the lord of winter. Saturn says no to lots of things. Saturn is limits. Saturn is restriction and constriction. But Saturn is also responsibility and foundations and all the good things about putting your nose to the grindstone, so to speak. That is Saturn. Now, Uranus, on the other hand, Uranus is pretty much a very, almost like the opposite energy. It's the maverick, it's the revolutionary, it is wanting to break free. Uranus is all about freedom seeking and enlightenment through like sudden breakthrough. So what do you get? What do you get when you have these two energies, these two planets, these two archetypal gods who represent such different energies? What do you get when they're in this really tense dance? It's a square. So a square is like 90 degrees, and astrologically we know that squares are tense aspects, they're called, and because of that constant friction, they create change and action. Not always comfortable. So Saturn square Uranus, the archetype of limitations and constriction, restriction, authority, is coming up against the rebel. And what do we do with that? What do we do with that? Well, what we hope, what we'd like to do, one way that we can work with that is to recognize and honor the best parts, the best expressions of these two archetypes. So, you know, Saturn is careful. Saturn is deliberate. Saturn is measured, right? Uranus is freedom-loving and eccentric and open to new ideas and welcoming and creating change. So, Saturn, measured, Uranus, change. Measured, change. So, if we can get those two to dance nicely together, then that's a great thing, right? Because there are benefits of measured change. Now, with these outer planet aspects, when we talk about outer planets, we're talking about planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. They move slowly. When we talk about the outer planet changes, we know that we can see how these aspects, these transits, manifest in the collective. We can look around the world and see evidence of this dynamic of Saturn square Uranus, right? It's called mundane astrology, the astrology of events in the world. So what about all this stuff in Texas? Like, the infrastructure just kind of blew up with this like really rare, strange, out of nowhere cold spell, right? I mean, they're not prepared for snow and freezing weather for any period of time in Texas. Like, that's out of nowhere. Where'd that come from? Well, Uranus. And then Saturn is all the systems that they had in place forever and ever. That just Uranus just kind of blew them up, right? So now they're faced with having to rebuild. They're having to rebuild something new. So that's kind of a disruptive manifestation of this Saturn-Uranus dynamic that visited Texas. And perhaps, there's been something in your life that is reflective of this archetype. So, are you very much wanting change right now? Are you wanting to break free? yet something's holding you back. And, if we push too hard with Saturn Uranus, something might break. So, the mantra kind of is measured change. Change will come. It's definitely going to come, but Saturn is going to force us to be deliberate about the change, to be more thoughtful about the change, and to recognize that you may be ready for change in all kinds of ways, but the structures in your life may be resisting that change. So, why don't we take a spin through rising signs? Does anybody have any thoughts about this Saturn Uranus personally? It was exact. Here's the thing. Okay, so, these planets move slowly, right? So Saturn is the planet that is moving the quickest of the two. Okay, and so we know these outer planets, they move forward in forward motion, and then they retrograde, they move backwards, and then they move forwards, and they move backwards, and they move forwards. So they'll go over the same point a couple of times, which is why you saw those 3 dates. February 21st, which was this past 17th? Today's the 21st. 17th, this past Wednesday, it was exact at 7 degrees. And then it's going to be exact again in June, and then again the last time in December. Okay, so it'll be interesting when we look back in December at the events, this month, and then in June, and then in December, because there will be a common thread. But these energies were with pretty much the entire year, because as long as it was exact Wednesday at 7 degrees. So as long as it's within 3 degrees of exact, the aspects are active. And so that means because the planets move so slowly, that's pretty much all of 2021. So let's do a screen share here and spin through some rising signs. Let me get it up here for you. There we go. And let me put myself back up here so you can see me while I'm talking to you. Do I want to be round? Do I want to be square? Do I want to be out of the box? Me? Out of the box? Never. There we go. All right, so this is the chart for the date of the exact square. So we see down here, let me get my mouse on here. Down here, can you see? Yeah, down there is Saturn, piled up with all those other planets in Aquarius. Now, again, this was for last Wednesday when this was exact, but still, it'll give you a picture of the configuration. And so here's the square to Uranus up here at 7 degrees Taurus. Okay, now, the time that this chart was run for actually gives a Libra rising. So we can talk to our Libra rising people right now and talk a little bit about where this configuration strikes your chart. Okay, who has Libra rising in the house? Me. Robin, I know you do as well. Okay, so what's going on? Well, we know Saturn's in our 5th house now, right? Yay. House of children, house of creativity, house of romance, house of pleasure generally, and speculation if one were to be a gambler, for example. So Saturn in that house of children, creative efforts, romance, speculation, pleasure is squaring the planet Uranus in the 8th house of shared resources, debts owed, debts collected. It's also the house of death and fear and anxiety. So this tension maybe, between creative efforts and joint resources, maybe some unexpected events regarding joint resources. And inheritances also is 8th house stuff. So again, this tension is going to be pretty much all through 2021. Exact and probably hotter in June and then around Christmas time. So there you go. That is Libra rising. Who else do we got here in the house? Step forward. How far? 1 minute. We're going to change this because we're going to go forward hours. We got a Sag rising in the house. Is Julie in the house? Hi, Janet. And hello there, Miss Anne. And I already said hi to Kathy, I believe. I'm so glad you guys are with me. I always, when I'm away for a couple weeks not doing my normal thing, I wonder if you guys are missing me and ready for me to come back. So it's good to see you, everyone here tonight. I so much appreciate you being here with me. Okay, so I don't see Miss Julie. If anybody has Sag rising, raise your hand and I'll come back to Sag rising. Cap rising. Who has Cap rising? Aaron, you're Scorpio rising, right? I don't know why I keep thinking you're Cap rising. I think you have a lot of Cap in your chart. And Aquarius rising. Wendy in the house? I don't think Wendy's in the house. Taurus rising. All right. Well, I know my Taurus rising gals are Anne and Kathleen. Okay, so what do we got? Taurus rising. Wow, look at that. Uranus in your first house. And see right here? Right there you go. And squaring 10th house Saturn. Okay, so first house, who you are and, your mark on the world and all about, your personal identity. Big changes over time because Saturn, Uranus moves slowly through that house. So, I'm sure that you ladies have been feeling this for quite a while now, ever since Uranus went into Taurus. I guess, gosh, that was months ago. But anyway, squaring that Saturn up in the 10th house of career and or just like your reputation out in the world. Okay, like what you do in the world. You're out and about and you have a reputation, or you're known for your role as, I don't know, the head of your, what do you call it? Homeowners Association. Boy, my condolences to you if you take on that role. Not something I would volunteer for, but that's just an example. So, Kathleen, I know that you're retired. So, if you're involved in any, volunteer activities or anything right now that it's giving you sort of a public profile, and certainly your career and your work out in the world, that's 10th house stuff. Okay, so 10th house stuff is wanting you with Saturn to, go ahead and do that work, be recognized for it. But Uranus in the first is like, well, I got to do it my way, right? That's the first 10th house dynamic right there. Does that make any sense to you gals? Sound familiar? Again, all through 2021, ladies. All right. Any Gemini risings? I don't recall any Gemini risings. Cancer risings. Kathleen, Kathy, didn't we decide you have Cancer rising? I think you do. Remember, because we were going back and forth about your birth time, and you were either... Confirm that for me, please, Kathy. I'm thinking you have Cancer rising, because that fit much better than the Leo rising, I think I recall. But for Cancer rising, that puts Saturn in the 8th, up here, house of shared resources, money, income coming from something other than like just your main income stream, like maybe like an insurance payment, debts owed, debts paid, or money coming to you from a debt or some outside source, shared resources. Again, it is the house of death, And fear and anxiety. So sometimes, those eighth house things can be a little bit nerve-wracking, to put it lightly. But just, mainly things like shared resources. Squaring, what's it squaring? It's squaring 11th house. That's the house of friendships, group associations, hopes and dreams in sort of a broader way, but I think mainly of like group participation. So there you go. So, maybe finding yourself involved in a group that's a little bit off the beaten path. Um, somehow tied into resources, shared resources, and a push and a pull there between those two topics. And what else we got out of the rising sign? Leo rising. Who are my Leo risings? I know my daughter is, but if she doesn't comment, I'm not going to read Leo rising. And we'll just keep moving. Both my daughters have Leo rising, and they couldn't be more different. Virgo rising. Lance not with us tonight. I know he's a Virgo rising fellow. And back to Libra. All right, so here you go. Scorpio rising, Miss Erin. Okay, look there. That Saturn's been going through your fourth house, house of the father, squaring the seventh house of relationship. Now that's an interesting placement for this particular square you're dealing with all year, my dear. So, fourth house, home, family, father, foundations, real estate, um, squaring that seventh house Uranus. So, relationships, right? So, gee, like maybe there's a relationship that has you moving across the country or making some sudden change. Um, but there's that tension. Saturn wants you home, right? Uranus and the seventh house stuff wants you to break free and have freedom and maybe do something a little cray cray. So measured change. Remember, measured change. Alrighty. That's all Scorpio risings. Sag, we already talked about Sag. Okay, I gotta get to Pisces. Where's my Pisces? I keep going past Pisces. Should be right around here. I think I'm moving too fast here. Hold on. Minutes. There we go. Okay, so Pisces rising, that would be Reverend Janet and Reverend Rob. Both have Pisces rising. What do we got? We got Uranus in the third house of siblings. Siblings, brothers, sisters, siblings, but also just day-to-day communication, travel, technology. Third house is, the modern astrologers like to say it's Mercury ruled house, but that's the 12-letter alphabet, which is a no-no in ancient astrology. But I see the association with it. Third house is communication. Okay, so third house squaring that 12th house Saturn. Yeah, so if there are siblings involved, it's could be a time of tumult and or change or breakthroughs, right? So, Janet, I know you have a story. You have a third house Uranus story. Would you like to share that in the comments? That would be a wonderful example for our community of how Uranus can bring breakthroughs and change and unpredictable things to the topics of siblings. And so squaring the 12th house, the 12th house is the house of exile. that's actually, they call it the joy of Saturn, if there is such thing as the joy of Saturn. But the 12th house is the house of solitude and where we go to be away from the outside world, either by choice or not. So 12th house Saturn wants to be quiet and introverted, but Uranus in the third house is raising all kinds of cane and making all kinds of noise and doing silly things like accidentally, sending that reply all when you didn't mean to reply all, or entering that comment in the chat for everyone to see when really you just meant it to be a private chat. Okay, I want to check these comments here. All right, here we go. So thank you, Janet, for sharing. So Janet says, 4 sisters not seen since 1964. They reached out and spoke with her, and there are 7 females. So basically, Janet was reunited with long lost siblings, and that is definitely Uranian, like unexpected, contact with a sibling. And I mean, and no one gave us, and number 1 gave us difficulty, or no one gave us. Oh, at the end of January, we reunited with number 6, and number 1 gave us difficulty. Okay, so all kinds of things in the mix with siblings for you, right, Janet? It's like new ones you haven't seen in forever. You're reunited. One of the siblings is kind of acting out in some ways. And just, yeah, that Uranus is making his presence known in the third house of siblings. Thank you for sharing that, Janet. Okay, guys. Did I miss anybody? Paula, sweetheart, I will have your rising sign for the next time. I promise. Because now I have your birth data. So you will be able to participate fully in these little discussions. And okay, so all right. Well, that was a quick one, guys. That was a quick one. We got a full moon coming up. Full moon is going to be in Pisces. Oh, and we're entering Pisces season, like today, yesterday, today, and Mercury goes direct today. Stations and goes direct today. Anybody got a really good Mercury retrograde story from this past retrograde? Pop it in the comments. I know that, traveling back and forth to Colombia, everybody's flights got all rearranged and messed up. Mine got changed before I left, and the flight that they changed for me included a layover that had no time to catch the next flight. It's like they just booked it, and I didn't. Luckily I caught it that they had done this, that there was no time, like literally no time to change planes. And the lady on the phone's like, "Oh, well, you can't have that flight." And I'm like, "No kidding." But one of the gentlemen who was at the retreat, in fact, the firekeeper, he had that same flight, but he didn't catch the fact that the layover was impossible. And he got stuck in Panama, like, overnight. Which would have happened to me if I didn't, notice that there was no way I could have made the connection. But everybody's flights got all messed up, routed here, routed there. My roommate just missed all that mess in Texas. She almost got stranded in Texas, because they closed that airport for a period of time. That's typical Mercury retrograde kind of stuff, as you know. I think that's probably, if people know nothing about astrology, other than their sun signs, they know what Mercury retrograde is about, generally. But Mercury is direct. So, back to business, guys. There you go. There's your Mercury retrograde story. Moving was hellish. 2 days instead of 1 in the middle of an ice storm. Oh, goodness. Robin, I had a fender bender last Saturday that put my car in the shop. Then Tuesday, my rental car was sideswiped while parked on the street. Oh, my gosh. Oh no. No, no, no. Oh gosh. So, yeah, that's no fun. I'm glad you're okay. Okay, guys. Any more stories? Just keep popping them in there. What is Rob saying? I have one brother and we are reasonably close, but don't talk all that much. And he lives just 30 miles away, so perhaps I should consider this a sign to reach out more. Well, whatever. Yeah, you can choose, Rob, to reach out to your sibling, but don't expect anything predictable about it. It could yield unexpected results, or, or some huge, like, lightning strike of enlightenment could hit you relative to that. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be um reaching out. You could certainly do it. I mean, I just feel like, whatever it is, the outcome could be unexpected. So go for it. Go for it. Okay, guys. You want to do some tarot? Let's do some tarot. So we got the full moon coming up. What was it, like on the 28th or something? I'm just trying to figure out what we want this card to be for. Next week we have Karma and Cocktails. We could visit this card during Karma and Cocktails, Rob, if you remind me. So we could just pull a card. I'm going to pull out the majors here. Since we're just pulling one card, I'm just going to stick with the majors. You know what I did, guys, when I was away in Colombia? We did 5 nights of ceremony, meaning we drank ayahuasca and journeyed 5 nights. And every night that I journeyed, I did a 4-card spread for it. And that was, I tell you, that's one way to learn the tarot. I pulled this card one night. I pulled this card. Hold on. I'm going to switch to the tarot. Yeah. I pulled the Strength card the night that I had my most emotional journey, and the facilitators were like, I was just like hanging on to them. I was like the lion, being tamed. Like in the Strength card, the lion can represent one's shadow, like taming the shadow, right? And so I was like wrestling kind of with my shadows while on the medicine and doing a good bit of howling, crying. But I was being supported by these wonderful, wonderful folks. And literally, I was like hanging on their arm. And the image of this card, which I would pull like one card out of the spread and put it on my little makeshift altar that I had by my little cot that was my place if I wanted to go lay down when I journeyed. And so that was the card that I took with me. And so when I was going through my thing, I kept thinking about this card. Strength card. I'll always think about that night now whenever I see or think of the Strength card. I got Temperance today, and I got it as part of the spread of my entire retreat experience, which was also interesting. So I think I'm feeling like I'm gonna be working with that card a lot over the next coming months. Gosh, I feel like I'm missing. Oh, and here she is, Temperance. Let me make sure I got them all. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 20. Yep, got them all. Okay, guys. Dum 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 dum. I'm going to walk over to the altar. Let me see here. Okay. All right, I'm going to talk loud. I don't want to bring my microphone over there. I'm just going to pull these cards. Woo! I'm going to pull one card from the majors. So this card is going to be for our week ahead, guys. Okay. It's the majors. Anybody want to make a guess what I pulled? Anybody want to make a guess of the majors? This might be a hard one to guess. I would never have guessed this one. I don't get this card very much at all, personally. Not these days, anyhow. All right. I won't make you... Okay, Chariot. Hello, beautiful Virginia. Thank you for joining us. Is this the first time you've joined us, Virginia? Please, everyone, welcome Virginia to Spirit Throw Me a Bone. Yay, Virginia. Okay. All right. I won't keep you in suspense any longer. Here is the card for the week for the Spirit Throw Me a Bone community. Got it? The Star. And again, I'm only pulled from the majors. All right, I got to cheat, guys, and look this up because I'm not real familiar with the Star. Somebody give me a keyword for the Star while I look it up. I will, of course, consult Steampunk Tarot, which is my favorite go-to tarot interpretations. The author of this deck is Barbara Moore, and I like her interpretations. What does she say about the Star? The Star is number 17. The Star. Oh, isn't she pretty? Guidance, serenity, and hope. Well, isn't that beautiful? Okay, Erin, sweetie, gotta go. Got a huge anatomy and physiology exam. Need to keep on studying. Thank you, and I'll see you next week. Okay, hold that star next to your heart. Good luck on your exam. You go, girl, and we'll see you next Sunday night. Thank you for joining us. Okay. Guidance, serenity, and hope. When you see the star, you can relax. Yay! I am all for relaxing after the past week that I've had. You came to a reading looking for guidance, and it shall be given to you. Our star knows where you are as well as where you are going and can help you see the way. She rises above the troubled waters of your soul and gives you a light to follow when you cannot find it within yourself. Now, isn't that just beautiful? I will take the star, guys. Huh. Okay. What does she offer you? As a star, she can give you many things. Starlight, starbright, make a wish. She is a kind goddess whom you can petition. Requests to her are often granted. back in the Fool card and again in the Hermit, we saw this light, this guiding force that is within our soul and resonating with the divine. We sometimes have difficulty seeing or sensing it. In our darkest hours, we know it is as the brightest star in the sky, a message of grace and a lifeline to gently lead us back on course. Well, there you have it, guys. There you have it. A reminder that the Enchanted Universe has our back. And I would just suggest that prayer is always a good idea. And that is one thing that I learned, again, during my time in Colombia, that prayer works. And I highly recommend it. So guys, gee, we just moved right on through our stuff tonight. Any comments? You guys, anything you want to offer about the star card? Rob, for example, do you have an interpretation that you'd like to offer for the star card? Any other tarot readers out there? Janet, if you have no internet at the new apartment, how are you watching us Monday? Or that's third house matter, internet. So thank all of you guys for joining me tonight. And if you, let me get back to my regular camera here. Hold on. Don't forget to subscribe and like and all that good stuff. So if you don't join us on YouTube, then maybe you ought to try joining us on YouTube sometime. And even if you don't join us on YouTube and you prefer Facebook, it would be wonderful. It would be great if you would just go to Spirit Throw Me Bone on YouTube and subscribe and like the video and hit that little bell as a reminder. So when we go live, you'll know that we're live, and you can choose to watch us on Facebook if you like. But I always welcome new subscribers to my channel. So I would appreciate it if you would go to YouTube and subscribe to Spirit Throw Me Bone. And we need to open our circle before we say goodnight, folks. Okay, so like when we opened the circle, we went in a clockwise direction, and when we cast the circle, we went in a clockwise direction. So when we open it, release it, we go counterclockwise, and we in the opposite direction. So we're going to thank the directions and the elements for holding sentinel around our sacred space tonight. By the earth that is her body, thank you, North. By the waters of her living womb, thank you, West. By the fire of her bright spirit, thank you, South. And by the air that is her breath, thank you, East. As above, so below, the circle is open. So thank you again for joining me tonight, Enchanted Ones. It is good to be back home and back with you in my home studio with all my gadgets and the cards and the candles and all that good kind of stuff. It's just so cozy and just happy to have you here with me again tonight. So don't forget, next week is Karma and Cocktails with Reverend Rob. Same enchanted time, same enchanted channel. So until then, be well, Be true, be sacred, be you.
Help extract the poison from our medicine hearts. Oh, I just wanna thank you for doing your part. I promise you that I'll always do mine. So in all our emotions, we've made a web, our path is woven, we're common threads. There is nothing you could do to shake me loose. I've got you, I'm not leaving. So go climb your mountain and know your name. The call you answer springs from the same flame I do. And as you take your leap, just know before I fly into the deep, I'm right here with you. Everywhere you go, I'm right here with you. Everywhere you go, I'm right here with you. In case you needed to know if I was here, I'm right here with you. We're like the stars in the sky, they are made of light, and just like you and I,